Yahweh Skelter. Is Yahweh just a cosmic Charles Manson? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, here with the gospel truth about Yahweh. And this is born out of a discussion I had last night with Rex Bear and Heidi Vandenberg and DJ Ransom. We're hoping to have a discussion with them tonight. Those three are confirmed, and we're going to have many, many more folks in our last day on the planet. Last chance for the rapture. It ain't over till Marzulli Clark and Breaker, Robert Breaker, Taker, sing Extravaganza. Which reminds me, I should play something for you real quickly because it's fun and it's enjoyable. And I'm all about fun and enjoyable because remember, life is a game, is it not? So let's play a little bit right here and have a little bit of fun before we get really serious about what we're talking about. So I want to play something for you really quickly. This is from one of my very, very talented friends. And I want you to enjoy this. And hopefully she will be with us tonight as well. And hopefully she will do the world premiere publicly of this piece of brilliance.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, September 23rd.
One more time.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, September 23rd.
One more time.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, September 23rd.
Oh, that's hilarious. All righty then. Let's shut this off before it goes on and does any more malfeasance. Boom. All right. So that's coming up tonight, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern. The last day on the planet, last chance for the rapture. It ain't over till Marzulli Clark and Breaker 19 sing Rapture Extravaganza. So we look forward to seeing you all there tonight. Jeffrey, what are you talking about? Is Yahweh just a cosmic Charles Manson? Well, you have to remember a little bit about Charles Manson. Charles Manson, remember him as a mass murderer and a fiend, and he certainly was. But the thing we have to remember is that Charles Manson never did his own wet work. That's right. Charles Manson never killed anybody. Charles Manson never killed anybody. Charles Manson never murdered anybody. Charles Manson never did it. None of it. And think of this. I didn't even think about this until just now. Charles Manson told people to go out and kill folks, and they went out and killed folks. Charles Manson told them to go out and cut a baby out of a lady. They went out and cut a baby out of a lady. Jeff, that's preposterous. That's ridiculous. Really? Well, Yahweh told them to go cut babies out of ladies, and they went and cut babies out of ladies. Yahweh went out and told them to kill people, and they killed people. Millions of people, at least hundreds of thousands of people. So Charlie never did his own wet work. He just told people to do the killing, and they did it. So I started thinking, did little Yahweh ever do his own wet work? Ever? I started thinking back and started trying to remember when little Yahweh might have done his own wet work. And I started thinking about the Exodus. Let's look at the Exodus. Let's look at the whole plagues in Egypt scenario, and let's see how that kind of played out. Let's see if he might have done his own wet work there. Because he would say, oh, yeah, Yahweh, he did his own wet work in Egypt. He brought the plagues on those people. He turned the water into blood. He brought frogs. He brought lice. He brought fleas. He brought disease in the livestock. He brought boils. He brought hail. He brought locusts. He brought darkness for 3 days. He brought the death of the firstborn. Or did he? Or did he? Remember the guy named Moses? And Moses was a magician, right? And remember, before any of that stuff started happening, Moses threw down his staff and it became a serpent. It actually became a crocodile, but it's not really that important at this point. So Moses was able to do great magic himself. So how do we know that it was Yahweh that brought those plagues? What if it was Moses that brought those plagues? Moses could turn a stick into a crocodile, and some dude that could turn a stick into a crocodile, you don't think that he might be able to work him up some water into blood? That seems a rather mundane act. You don't think he could work up some frogs, some lice, some flies, some disease for some animals? You don't think Moses could work up some boils, some hail, some locusts, some darkness? Oh, and the Lord parted the Red Seas and they went over on dry land. Well, if that ever happened, who parted the Red Seas? I'll wait. It's the last day on the planet. Yeah, Moses parted the Red Seas, didn't he? I don't even know if it was little Yahweh that did that. Well, Jeff, surely you know that Yahweh did. Surely you know that Yahweh did the. I'm sorry, Jenny Moonstone just sent a note. I hope that's saying that yes, I'll be there tonight. But little Yahweh, the plagues of Egypt. There we go. But you know that he must have said, Yahweh must have did that death of the firstborn. Did he? Let's look at that. Exodus 11. Let's look at Exodus 11. And let's go to BibleHub.com. Let's look at Exodus 11. Did Yahweh do his own wet work in Exodus 11? Exodus 11. All right. And Yahweh said to Moses, I'm going to bring another plague. Go get all their stuff. And at midnight, I'm going to go into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt will die. From the Pharaoh to the firstborn of all the animals. And here's where it gets here's where I start to wonder. So what did they have to do? Remember, they had to go mark their doors. They had to go mark their doors. Passover door marking. See if we can get a image of that. Yeah, see, it was the Passover door marking, right? And this is kind of what it looked like. You're supposed to mark the top of your door, the sides, and the bottom, right? Whoops. Supposed to mark the top, the sides, and it would drip down onto the bottom, obviously. And the interesting thing about that is that somebody here is already thinking like I was, look at that. It's just like the cross, bless God. Holy Jesus, bless his killing ass name. So my question is, you got to do this thing right here so God will see the blood and pass over you. Why does God need to see blood? Some of you know what I'm attempting to mimic. Why does God need to see blood? Isn't he God? Doesn't he know? Maybe that marking wasn't for Yahweh. Maybe Yahweh didn't even do his own wet work in the Passover. Maybe Yahweh told Moses and all his slaves, and Yahweh's slaves, all the Yahweh's people to go do it. And maybe the reason why they marked that doors is so they wouldn't kill the wrong people. I don't even know if Yahweh did his own wet work in the Passover. I don't know if he did his own wet work in the plagues. So when was the last time that Yahweh did his own wet work? Sodom and Gomorrah? That was before. So what happened after Egypt? Well, he had them go kill all those people to get in the promised land. Yahweh didn't do it. Yahweh didn't show up. Walls of Jericho, Yahweh didn't show up. When was the last time Yahweh actually showed up and did his own wet work? What if Yahweh can't do his own wet work? What if he doesn't have the energetic juice to do it? Or what if he doesn't have the stones to do it? Maybe he's a little light in his loafers. Maybe he doesn't have the gravitas it takes to do his own wet work. When was the last time that Yahweh ever did his own wet work? Is he just a cosmic Charlie Manson? The only time I can think of Yahweh doing his own wet work, I can think of one time where Yahweh might have done his own wet work, but he didn't even really do his own wet work then. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse number 1. How's that for starting at the beginning, y'all? So, let's take a look-see. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, the Elohim created the heavens and the earth became without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. Well, how did it become without form and void? Well, we know this story, but we'll go over it again with you. Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse number 2-3, which is a 5. Jeremiah 4:23. I beheld the earth was without form and void, just like in Genesis 1:2. The heavens had no light, just like in Genesis 1:2. There was no man because they'd all been killed. There was no birds because they all were killed or flew away. The fruitful place was made a wilderness. The cities thereof were destroyed. Why? By the presence of the Lord and by his fierce anger, blowing his fiery anger through his nostrils. Well, Jeff, how do you know that it wasn't just that way at the beginning? Well, Isaiah told us that the earth was not created without form and void. Where is that? Isaiah, not created in vain. What is that? Isaiah 45:18. There you go. See, I'm still pretty good at this. Isaiah 45:18. For thus saith the Lord, he did not create it in vain. What does in vain mean in verse 18? He did not create it in vain in verse 18. You skeptics, watch and listen. He did not create it in vain. Boop. What's that word right there, skeptic? Huh? What's that say? He did not, the earth was not created tohu. And watch this, skeptic. Genesis 1:2. What's that word? Skeptic. In Genesis 1:2, it was tohu. It wasn't created tohu. It became tohu in Genesis 4:23. Who made it tohu? The Lord made it tohu. Well, maybe he did his own wet work. Or did he? Or did he? Because I've showed you this before, and you can look this up on the video. Look it up. You just go into my YouTube and search Jeffrey Darty, Lord Mhulu. I-M-H-U-L-U. Because I believe the Lord stole the Imhulu. Or possibly the Hebrews stole the Imhulu and the Lord took the credit for it. But no, there weren't any Hebrews yet, so the Lord himself had to steal the Imhulu. So I was right. See, sometimes I think I'm wrong, but I'm actually not wrong, so that means I was right from the beginning, right? So the Lord stole the Imhulu. And he used the Imhulu to destroy the earth and put it in Genesis 1:2 fashion. He didn't even do that wet work himself. He used a weapon. And that's probably what he used on Sodom and Gomorrah as well. So the Lord Yahweh supposed to be all big, supposed to be all bad, supposed to be all scary, supposed to be all helter-skelter. He can't even do his own wet work. Not even back then could he do his own wet work. And where is Yahweh today? Rex was saying last night, and I'm sure we'll go through this again tonight. Rex was saying, oh, Jeff, don't say bad things about the gods. And I need to clarify this. I'm not saying bad things about the gods. I love the gods. I respect the gods. I believe in the gods. I believe in the illimitable one, the inexpressible one, the ultimate God as well, which I believe is a mother-father God. But I am bringing disrespect to Yahweh, who is a failed, flawed, and fallen God. I give respect to a lot of gods that do what they're supposed to do and exist how they're supposed to exist and do what they're supposed to do. But Yahweh, little Yahweh, he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, doesn't exist like he's supposed to exist. He got kicked out. And little Yahweh wants us to believe he's big, he's bad, he's scary. Oh, I'm Yahweh, watch out for me. Rex was saying, oh, don't talk bad about Yahweh. When was the last time Yahweh showed up in person and did anything? I'll wait. Cue the Jeopardy music. When's the last time Yahweh showed up and did anything? Did Yahweh ever do anything on his own? Or is he just a poser? Is he just a Charlie Manson? Can't do his own wet work? If Yahweh ever did have any gravitas and power to do that stuff, he ain't got it anymore, cousin. He's a fallen, flawed, failed, powerless, little g God. And he just doesn't want you to figure it out, but I just told you. The reason Yahweh's people are going nuts and making stupid predictions and fearing, oh, sky's falling, it's terrible, is because they know they're out of time. Yahweh knows his gig is up. We have figured it out. He's a impotent little baby girly man, little g God. He can't do anything anymore. The only thing he can do is through his twisted, poor followers that haven't figured him out yet. Yahweh's finished. Yahweh's over. Yahweh's done. We have ascended above Yahweh. Yahweh is over. If he ever was, he might have been, oh, what did the Christ say to us? He's the father of lies. He's been a liar from the beginning. He never was a big, bad, strong God. The only reason that he ever had any power is because he had that Imhulu. And when the Elohim took it from him, he was done. But for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many thousand years, Yahweh's convinced us that he's big, bad, scary. Oh, I'm Yahweh. Yahweh, like my son used to say. How did he put this? I'll make sure I got it right. He says, I got 2 things for you. I got some blunt force and I got some trauma. Yahweh's over. We're taking over. Yahweh is crumbling. We are rising. Yahweh's religion is crumbling. We are rising. Yahweh is a phantom. Yahweh is a fake. Yahweh is a fraud. It's like I said to Rex last night. Yahweh, it's like when Dorothy was going to the Emerald City And it's exactly like this because that's the way why the guy wrote this book. Dorothy's going to the Emerald City. And remember the Bible, the Emerald Throne? Yeah, see? She's going to the Emerald City to find God. Did I even turn on my mic? I'm such a... So she's going to the Emerald City to find God, right? Sorry, the sound has been bad this whole time because I forgot to turn on my stuff. But it'll be okay. So she's going to the Emerald City to find God and finds out that the little dog Toto pulls the curtain, and they see that there's just a man behind the curtain, that the wizard is a big farce, a fake, a phony. That's an analogy of Yahweh. Yahweh's a big fraud, a big fake, a big phony. Yahweh didn't even have the guts of Charlie Manson. Yahweh is just a cosmic Charlie Manson, can't do his wet work, never did his own wet work, doesn't have any real guts, doesn't have any real gravitas, doesn't have any real stones, flawed, fallen, failure, little g like little girl God. He's done. He's over. How can you say that? Oh, it's going to strike you. Strike away, bro. Don't strike me, bro. He doesn't have it in him. When's the last time he struck anybody? I strike me. When did that ever happen? It never happened. When is the last time Yahweh ever showed up in person, live and in person, and did anything? I'm waiting. He doesn't show up. He doesn't do anything himself because you know why? He can't. He can't. He's played out. He's done. He's over. Finished. Cosmic Charles Manson. Charles Manson's in jail, locked away, insignificant. So is Yahweh. The sentence has been pronounced. We just have to enforce it. He's done. He's over. He's finished. The day of Yahweh was yesterday. The day of spirituality and the day of humanity rising is today, and tomorrow is ours. We move forward today on September 23rd, the last great stupid act of these chuckleheads. He's coming back. It's the rapture. We launch from this day knowing that their God is flawed, their God has failed, their God has fallen, and he can't do anything about it anymore. He's got no more juice. He's locked up. He's finished. He's over. It's our day. Well, why don't the Elohim ever do anything to Yahweh? Because he's been so mean to us. Because they're waiting for you to wake up and realize who you are, and what you have, and do it yourself. There's a new sheriff in town. And it's us. And today, we start enforcing the law on Yahweh, little Yahweh. His time is up. I'm your Huckleberry. Say when. It's over, Jack. It's over. You know what? We've already shot him in the head like Doc shot Johnny Ringo. And like Doc said to Johnny Ringo, I say this to Yahweh right here, right now. Jeffrey Darty speaking to Yahweh right now. You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all. His heart just couldn't bear the strain. He was too high strung. Bye-bye, Yahweh. You're done. I can't wait to see the chat room on this one. All righty. Happy Rapture Day, says Tamu in Gina. Tamu will be part of the extravaganza tonight. What's it called? It's called The Last Day on the Planet. Last Chance Rapture. It ain't over till Marzulli, Clark, and this guy sing extravaganza. Coming tonight. Hi, my new subscriber from your conversation with Rex yesterday. Inky, 5 stars. Very nice to have you. I really appreciate you. Scotty Roberts. We have a ruptured rapture. Absolutely. Scotty Roberts will be with us tonight for the extravaganza. Lee Veltman. If Lee Veltman sent me his email address, I might even send Lee Veltman an invite to be with us tonight. Nicholas Tracy. Yes, life is a game. Renaissance woman. There's some plants who have figured out a way to peek into their consciousness. Inky Stars, again, thanks. He brainwashed the best of them. Helter Skelter and the Process Church is a crazy story. Yep. Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter. Anyway. Yahweh had a damn good reason. Yahweh didn't have no reason. Yahweh's a baby little G girly God. Yahweh wishes he was a 5-star general. He's a 5-star faker. And relax with the all caps, Nick. Put a shirt on, bro. I disagree with you, Lee, on that one about the sacraments aren't a sacrifice. I think they definitely 100% are. Moses and his staff. Manson was a CIA agent, maybe. I'd rather call it the demon's way before God. He's not God, Nick. You're buying his crap that he's God. He's not God. He's a failed, fallen, flawed, little girly, little g God. He's not God. We have the divinity in us, not him. We are the gods, not Yahweh. And it's taken us 2,000 years to figure it out. That's why the Elohim have been sitting back and saying, we're not going to intervene. We're going to let these dudes go until they figure it out on them by themselves. And guess what? We have. Some of us. He's not God. Never was God. Never will be God. He's played out. He's over. MK Ultra, that's some good stuff, Lee. I wrote a book about that recently. I'm having trouble understanding you. Okay. Hello, Jen. How do you define wet work? Wet work is actually doing the killing yourself. It's a term used in the military or in professional assassins. I was in the military. I didn't do any wet work before you asked, but wet work is the guy doing the wet work is the one that actually walks up and puts the gun to the head and goes poof, poof. The guy doing the wet work or the gal doing the wet work is the one that comes up and puts the knife. That's doing the wet work. It's called doing wet work because you do the work, it gets wet, blood, wet work. Not a bad knife, huh? That's what doing the wet work is. Manson didn't do his wet work, and Yahweh didn't do his wet work. God is somewhat drastic, but we kill deer every day for population control. I don't. Love you, Jeff. My mom got me and my youngest interesting listening to you. Thank you, Mari. Nick, please, no more with the damn capitals. Yahweh's not God, period. He's too busy hanging out on Nibiru with the Anunnaki. Yeah. Stuck in the middle with you. Wet work, blood spilling, absolutely. Can you define what you are describing a bit more comprehensively for those who are new or just trying to understand your message? What I'm saying is that Yahweh has been faking that he's a real God. Watch the show I just did on the parable of the tenants. There was a vineyard, which is the earth. And the Elohim set it up and took their hands off and watched to see what would happen because it's a training ground for Elohim in training, which is us. What we did is we got duped by this fallen God Yahweh, and he conned us into these bodies, and he's been oppressing us for all these years. And the Elohim would send an avatar every now and then to try to get him to turn, because it's also about Yahweh's redemption. This was a time for Yahweh's potential redemption. But Yahweh killed the avatars and said, no, I don't want any redemption. And then finally, we're starting to wake up and realize that he's not the God, we are, and this is not his place, it's our place. He's not the God of this world. We're the gods of this world. He's not the God of this world. We're the goddesses of this world. Folks, this is mind-blowing stuff. I can't believe that we're getting this. This is like, Yahweh's not the God of this world. That's why Paul said he's the God of this world. He wants us to believe he's God. He's not the God of this world. We're the gods of this world. We're the goddesses of this world. Yahweh's been faking it for thousands of years, but now we know. And that parable of the tenant says that the landowner, the Elohim's going to come back, kick the unjust steward, which is Yahweh, the husbandman, kick him out. And he's going to give the vineyard to the good people. Remember, the Christ said the meek are going to inherit the earth. We're the gods of this world, not Yahweh. Yahweh's done. And those of us that want to stay here and run this thing are going to be offered godship and are offered a chance to do it as we grow into our own Elohimness. Personally, I'd rather move on and be to another higher dimension of living development. That's just me. I don't want to stay here. I want to move on up and grow and develop, but it has been scientifically proven that people write in all caps have an IQ below 60. I sometimes do that, so I'm not sure that I like that. Wet work is code for black ops in the spy world. Yeah. Lee, you're right. But I'm talking about it as wet work, the killing, the bloody work. I love how you throw new things in chat that I go research. Absolutely. When it comes to Yahweh, Jeff, you're the best. Thank you. Have you considered that the top general may pass the crown when tired of control to the next in line? Nick, bro, you got to get out of that fear. You are so bought into Yahweh's line of thinking, and you're smarter than that. Jeff don't need to do anything he doesn't want to do on Jeff's channel. Wet work, does it really matter what it means? It means bloody work, killing. Don't get lost in the details. Don't get lost in the weeds. Yahweh has never had the stones to do his own killing. That's my point. And I don't think he had the power to do his own killing. That's why he had to trick people into doing it for him. My Holy Spirit knows truth. Yeah. Rex Bear is awesome. I love her. I love me some Rex. Rex upset you last night, Lee? Tell me why, pray tell. I understand you, Inky. You're exactly right. And that's why I'm trying to break it down and make it a little more understandable. You're right. I do talk like everybody knows what I'm talking about, and they don't. You're calling BS on the rank. I am calling BS on Yahweh. I'm calling BS on Yahweh. Let me make it clear. I'm calling BS on Yahweh. I'm calling BS on Yahweh. What do you think it means when I say you're no daisy? You're no daisy at all. He was too high strung. His heart just couldn't take it. He's been shot down. He's over. He's through. I think that was pretty clear. Come on. There we go. If in the end Yahweh is child, then God would, yeah, pathetic Yahweh. I agree. It has to do with fair game and the Elron stuff. Fair game. Well, there's a good term. Veltman's a deep guy. If Rex, it had to do with fair game. Oh, okay. Yeah, Rex doesn't, I don't think Rex really knows a whole lot about the Elron stuff. You know, a lot of people throw that around, you know, just to be funny and make a point. I don't think he was trying to be, I don't think he was shooting for you, Lee. Thank you. I think I'm on point. Yahweh is over. Absolutely. He didn't trigger me. He doesn't understand the rules of the tools of fair game. Oh, you'll go back, Lee. He's all right. Fair game, Lee, I don't know if we want to explain that or not, but fair game basically means that if somebody's opposing you, you can do anything you want to make them look bad or take them down. Nicholas Tracy, I doubt anything will happen today. Really? Don't get too far out there on that limb. And what do you need salvation for, Nick? What do you need salvation from? What do you need salvation from? You're not born with original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. You don't need salvation from their God. You don't have original sin. You don't need salvation, and you don't need their Savior. It's a trap, man. Wake up and realize. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Well, he got under your skin, didn't he, Lee? That's funny. Not funny, haha, but funny, funny. I want to insert an Illuminati joke, yeah. Got to be careful of what energies and frequencies you're talking about. I'm sitting right here. He knows where to find me. Lee was not on the Rex show. He was in the chat room. I did an interview about NLP and mind control. Did being the key word. Yep. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Jesus himself nor the angels of heaven know the day nor the hour. Jesus never existed. I used to date someone who was a Freemason and an NLP teacher. That was one creepy relationship. Well, I'll say it. I'm a certified master technician of NLP. I'm not a Freemason, but I am a certified NLP master practitioner from back in my sales days. And it is good stuff if used properly. You want to know a great example of NLP? And Rex said this last night. I wonder if this is what upset Lee. I don't think so. But I asked Rex, and of course, I was talking about Marzulli. Rex doesn't like me to say Marzulli or Clark in his thing because he talks to him and has him on his show, and they, probably bring a lot of subscribers and stuff. So I throw out their name in a couple of times, but then I'll say those that shall not be named. But anyway, I asked Rex, if a guy says, I'm not saying the rapture is going to happen, but it sure looks like all the signs are pointing to that. I'm not saying the rapture is going to happen on September 23, but all the signs are sure pointing to that. That's a perfect example of NLP saying something's going to happen without saying it's going to happen, saying something's going to happen, planting it in the minds of people while leaving yourself the chance, like a little baby girly biatch, to say, oh, no, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. Yes, he did. And that's an example of a very poor use of neuro-linguistic programming, but a use just the same. I saw the petals fall off a daisy. Why are you banning people, Jeff? I will ban people if they continue to be idiots. This is a very open forum, but there's one thing you can't be, is rude. Like Hannibal Lecter, when possible, I prefer to eat the rude. You can't be rude and say on this channel. You can share your opinion. Now, if you want to talk your whole doctrine, you should get your own channel. So if someone is rude, they'll get timed out. If they continue to be rude, they'll get banned. And banned doesn't mean they can't come back. It just means they can't talk. And I do go through and unban people on a daily basis after they've been banned for a while. So, and also if you keep preaching your doctrine in big old long, huge things, that's what your channel's for, not my channel. So yeah, that's why people have to jump through 3 or 4 hoops to get banned. And then I unban them and give them another chance. How many people turn their life upside down out of fear of the rapture? A bunch. I'll come on later. We're friends on Facebook. We are friends on Facebook. Okay, cool. I will message you. I don't know if Charles Manson claimed to be Jesus or not. New subscriber. Thank you, Jesse McCartney. Glad to see that you're here. I don't believe in coincidences. Listened to 10 of the basic videos last night. Thank you so much for telling it like it is. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you. I salute you for seeking truth. Very, very glad to have you. So the I am is no more. He's not the I am. He just wanted us to think he was the I am. The I am. He's the I ma'am, like in girl. Sorry, that's disrespectful to ma'ams. God is everywhere. I agree. Hey, Travis Cup. I kind of retired Plastic Jesus and went with Soylent Jesus. Soylent Jesus is people, but it's the same person. Yah, Ronnie says that Yah stole our right to rule over the earth. He tricked us out of our right. Either way, he's a thief. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. Well, he's not flesh or blood. Ingvar, I wish I could read what you're saying, but I can't. CNN breaking news. This place belongs to us. You got it, Brian Tucker. I wish another Tamu would come on here so I could say hi, Tamu. There ain't no other Tamus out there, I don't think. I think we decided last night that Yahweh was Enlil. Do God's... That's funny. The earth is ours. I used to pray to Yahweh. Pray to your higher self. How do I know Jonathan can? I don't know that I do. I'm in a dilemma. I need your assistance. Okay. Send me an email. Lee, come to the show tonight. I agree. Funny thing is I'm not in line with him or much less scared of dying that I can't wait either way. Okay, my brother. Oh, they say that, oh, you're saying that Jehovah was a flesh and blood man king. Who was saying that last night? Ransom was saying that last night. I'm your huckleberry. Ingvar, that's brilliant. He says, my life transformed when I turned away from religion and started working on spirituality. Dynamite last night. The ineffable ones are waiting for someone to worship. Maybe they're thinking, okay, guys, I don't think they want worship. Any real God doesn't want to worship, doesn't need your worship. Fair game is a cannibal reference, actually. Not in modern parlance. Fair game is a doctrine that was in the Church of Scientology that if anybody's opposing you, you can take any and all means necessary to make them look bad. Behind the curtain, exactly right. He said it himself that he's not God. Okay. Will Ransom be on the show tonight, Jeff? Yes, Ransom will be on the show tonight. So we've worked our way through the chat room. That was some good stuff. That was some strong stuff. But that's stuff that I believe is real. The time of Yahweh is over. He's not the God of this world anymore. We're the gods and goddesses of this world. And it's time for us to take our rightful place in this earth. I said it. I meant it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Give them all a trophy. I said it, I meant it, and I'm sticking to it. There we go. Is Jeff on regular? Jeff doesn't have a regular schedule on the weekends, Jen. Too many little gods already, and look at the state of the world. We're awake for a reason, absolutely. So, thank you, Lee Veltman. Anytime you say it's good stuff, I know it's been good stuff. So, folks, tonight at 9 p.m., we've got the, what's it called? Last Day on the Planet. Last Chance Rapture. It ain't over till Marzulli Clark and this guy sing Extravaganza. And what do you say? I have something to reveal to you today. Ooh, that sounds like secret or something. All right, folks. Great, great stuff. And I did just want to leave you before we go with a little something, something. And I'll see you before 9 tonight, I'm pretty sure. And 9 tonight should be fun. From 9 to midnight, we're going to have a lot of people on talking about a lot of different things. So I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And hopefully we'll see this lady too. And I want to leave you with this. And until next time, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly Christian whistleblower. And we are making the change we want to see. And we are staying fearless, my friends. And let me leave you with this. On September 23rd, 2017.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, September 23rd.
How about that? We'll see you soon. See you tonight. Until then, be excellent to each other.